It is back to school week. That's right. Okay, now to get started, there are only two types of parents out in this world. The first one are usually the preschoolers, kindergartners, and maybe first grade parents. Those are the parents that are sitting there, looking in the classroom, making sure their child doesn't cry, everything's okay, they're being accepted into their classes, etc. And then there's the second type of parents. These parents literally kick the kid out of the door and say, hey, have a great school year, see you around, I'll be at I'll be at home watching TV. Yes, moms, I know that is a whole lot of you. But before we get going into any of that, I wanted to take a minute and just give you a few tips and tricks that you can start using in your household to make sure that your kids have a great and healthy start to their school year. So the very first thing I want to talk about is this: breakfast. That's right. Breakfast is one of the most important meals of the day. And the name itself, breakfast or break fast, means that the person is breaking their fast overnight. And the best way to do this is by giving your child something that contains wholesome food, a balanced breakfast. And a balanced breakfast is not just sugary Lucky Charms cereal with orange juice. No, guys, that is full of sugar and crap, right? Don't give them that. Give them something healthy. Make them a green smoothie. Give them eggs and bacon, something with some protein in it, which will help to level out their blood sugar and get their day started. So number one, make sure your kid is eating a healthy breakfast before they head out their door. And if you're one of those parents that wakes their kid up like 12 minutes before you take them to school, rethink that a little bit. I know it's kind of tough in the morning to get them up and going, but let's please give them something healthy to eat to start their day. Many of you, like myself, have brain fog in the morning, and if you're trying to sit there and take in information, just think of all the bad stuff that'll happen, especially for your little one. The second thing I want to talk about is the kids' backpacks. Now, the thing that most people get wrong having to do with your child's backpack is the weight of the backpack. For instance, my little guy is about 50 pounds, and we know that a backpack should not weigh more than 10% of the body weight of the child. So my little guy at 50 pounds, no more than 5 pounds should go in his backpack at any one time. Now, the reason isn't necessarily that we're loading the spine, which is bad, obviously, from a chiropractor's point of view, but as you know, is when kids that are wearing those heavy backpacks, what do? They bend over and they're hunched forward like that, which is number one, not the greatest for the spine, but number two, it decreases the amount of oxygen that they can take inside their lungs. There's tons of studies showing that a decreased amount of oxygen relates to a decreased amount of oxygen to the brain, which causes your mental acuity or your smartness to drop significantly. So don't load those backpacks heavy, guys, less than 10% of your child's body weight. Second thing about backpacks, you want the heaviest portion, the heaviest book, the heaviest thing that's in the backpack, the closest to the body. Why? Because if it's further apart, that can lead to more tilting and cause a whole bunch of muscular imbalances. And then the third thing, please have your child use both straps when they're carrying their backpack. I can't tell you how many times I've seen one kid over with leaning over at 90 degrees, and I'm like, that can't be good. Why? Because the muscles are gonna get tight, it's gonna cause tightness in the neck. Those muscles are gonna become tight, cause rotations in the spine, hit nerves, cause headaches, back pain, low back pain, you name it, decrease smartness. It's all bad, parents, okay? So as far as backpacks, three things. Number one, less than 10% of your child's body weight. Number two, the heaviest book that is in the bag goes the closest to the body. And number three, make sure they're using both backpack straps. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is water intake. Every single child should have a water bottle in their backpack, on their side backpack, what have you, they're taking to class. We know, number one, water is critical for hydration. And your kids are probably out running around taking 2 or 3 different recesses a day. Please hydrate them correctly. And no, Gatorade is not correct hydration. That is just full of crap and even more sugar, which we'll talk about in a second. They don't need Gatorade. They don't need Powerade in their water bottles. They need water in their water bottles. Amazing concept, right? So give them plenty of water to drink throughout their day. Also, water aids in digestion, and the more water that they can drink throughout their day, yes, they'll probably have to go to the bathroom a little bit more, but it'll help keep their gut flora, it'll help keep their digestion moving properly. And we know that our immunity, our immune system, over 90% of it lives in our gut. So wouldn't it make sense that we're continuing to add water to the system to keep all of those nasty bugs and viruses and germs that they're about to consume? Yes, they touch them and put them in their mouth. They need to pass through their system. So water will help pass through all of that stuff as well. Now, let's talk fourthly about lunches and snacks. The biggest issue that I see having to do with lunches and snacks are two things. Number one, Cheetos and chips does not equal lunch. And number two, please, for the love of God, do not allow your child to take Coke, root beer, Sprite, Dr. Pepper, or Mountain Dew as their drink of choice for lunch. That is literally like giving them a bomb and saying, hey, that's a ticking thing going off and don't blow it up. And trust me, your teachers will love you as well. Why? Because they feel really great, right? You get a great rush of sugar. You get 30 to 60 grams of sugar. Yes, up to 60 grams in some of those soft drinks that kids are consuming now. And then they crash out. They turn into little monsters. You have no idea who they are. They can't focus, and they are they're non-productive when it comes to what they're doing in school. Give them a balanced amount of food. A nice sandwich, good meats. Remember, lean more on the protein side versus the heavy carbohydrate side. Now, a little bit of talk about this as well. When you're making your lunches for your kids, just make them wholesome and healthy. Don't be packing them with a bunch of preservatives and crap. Just think about this. If it comes in a box, it usually contains a bunch of preservatives. And those preservatives can also cause some neurological symptoms that can translate to your kid looking like he's spazzing out and having ADD. So let's not give those guys a bunch of preservatives. Give them wholesome food. Remember, if it's in a box, probably not the best thing. So all these Fiber One bars, fruit roll-ups, all of that type of crap, stop putting that in their lunch pail. Give them fruits, give them vegetables, make a nice wholesome sandwich, give them that to eat, and also give them water to drink, please. Again, no sodas, no fruit juices, none of that stuff. They don't need any of that. And then the last thing I want to talk about today is this. When you get them home, I know they're going to be exhausted, I know they're going to be worn out, and they're going to be tired. Great. Here's the deal. They need to go to sleep earlier. That's right. The average child needs anywhere between 10 and 12 hours of sleep a night. So think about this. Don't think about putting them to sleep early because of that schedule. Think about it on the opposite side. And here's what I mean. If your child has to get up at 7 in the morning to get to an 8 o'clock class, then you need to work backwards 12 hours, which is 7 p.m., 8, 9-ish. So your child should be asleep at the very latest at 9 p.m. Now, if your kid's in kinder, then they need to be a little bit sleep earlier. Then they're 7:30 or 8 o'clock. But the average growing child, the one that's consuming all the food, running around, doing everything from kinder to about 8th grade, needs about 10 to 12 hours of sleep a night. All right, guys, that is your back to school tips for this week. My name is Dr. Bo Pierce. Hope you guys have a great one out there. As always, if you have comments and questions, because I know you will, please ask them below. Have a great one. Bye.